It's not common that you hear a technical talk from Apple, so we really appreciate Alex being here. Um, People with young, how many of you have young children, like below 5, 6 years old? So I hear, you know, in the kind of older generation, now teens, parents worried a lot about screen time and trying to kind of reduce screen time. Now they worry about sort of the intimate relationship that their children have with Siri, with Alexa, with Google Home, and so forth. So next up, we have Ruhi Sarikaya, who is Director of Amazon Alexa. Ruhi did his PhD at Duke, and in addition to working with the other folks at Microsoft, he worked at IBM also. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do you hear me well? Okay, we have 25 minutes. Let me speak fast. So I'm going to talk about natural language interaction challenges for intelligent personal assistants. So I organized my talk into the following sections. I will talk about the fundamental frictions when customers interacting with digital devices, applications, and services. And I will also talk about natural language interaction challenges and give you some use cases. If we have time, I will talk about metrics and measurements. Metrics are very critical. If you don't set the right metrics, you may be optimizing for something that you don't want to achieve. And I will also give high-level challenges for the technology and different components that Alex talked about briefly. I don't think we will have Q&A, but we have it here, maybe in the panel. So these are the set of devices that we launched at Amazon, and the one at the bottom, the ones at the bottom are, we launched it previously. Echo Show came out earlier this year, and we have a new set of next generation devices that are launched this year. And these are all enabled by Alexa. That's the intelligent assistants powering these devices. Okay. So now, actually, I will take some time to give you, take a step back and give you high-level challenges. And even I had to change the title because, we wanted to make it more understandable to you guys. Actually, I'm going to talk about the frictions from the customer's point of view. And when it comes to frictions, Amazon is right up there because it's a customer-obsessed company. We always want to remove the frictions between customer and what customer wants to do. So I looked up the dictionary about the meaning of friction. This is actually the definition. I modified it slightly so that it's addressing the problems that we are talking about in this personal assistant or technology space in general. Friction is any variable that's slowing you down or entirely halting the progression towards achieving a goal. And this probably happened to many of you. Around Christmas time, you buy some gadgets or toys to your family members or the kids. And then, they open the present, and then they see that either cable is missing or battery is missing. Usually, this happens around, holidays, and the stores are all closed. And it's a bummer. It's actually, this is, when you think about it, it creates aggravations for the customers. And it's not about the gadgets also. When you want to go, sign up for a web service or purchase something, there's, extensive information that they ask you. You need to provide this. It creates anxiety. What happens in these cases is, customers, they never blame themselves. And they don't go try to find, figure out the solution. Instead, they go seek out the solution elsewhere, their competitor. And according to a latest study, about 78% of the customers bailed out of a transaction just because of these frictions. And on the flip side, if you are looking at the problem from the customer's perspective, say you're planning a business trip and you need to buy a luggage, and then you go to a website and you see that whether this thing, the luggage is suitable for carry-on, and it says right there, this is suitable for carry-on, and it's also free shipping. You just click and buy the product. And this creates a snowball effect. You actually go tell this to your friends, you go tell this to your colleagues. So now looking at these things, as you know, Amazon is active in many different business segments. And I was thinking about it, what is it that Amazon do really? If I summarize this in 2 words, Amazon is in the business of removing friction. When you think about it, one-click shop is about removing friction. Amazon Prime is about removing friction. Amazon Go is about removing friction. I am in Seattle, HQ1, in Day 1 building, and we have Amazon Go at the bottom floor. It took me 90 seconds from 21st floor to go downstairs, grab my lunch, and come upstairs. 90 seconds. It's about removing friction. And Alexa is no different. It is about removing friction. So, and removing friction is key to customer satisfaction. And let me ask you a question at this point. I may give you the answer in the end, or if I don't give you, please remind me. So what is the common theme or thread across these different types of frictions? Think about it. All right. Now, Alexa, now I like to give you my perspective on what is happening in this AI space and machine learning. And maybe I will spend some more time than I should, but I think it is important. So there is not a single day that goes by that you hear or read these types of news in different news outlets. So what is really happening here? You're probably trying to make sense of it. So that's what, I will give my explanation for this. So a great application of AI is the personal digital assistants. So here, personal digital assistants, it's a meta layer of intelligence that sits on top of applications and services. It performs a set of actions using these services and applications to satisfy the user's intent. And it also has natural language interface. This is critical. The customers actually did many studies. The customers love natural language interface, and they want more of it. And it relies on a set of core capabilities like machine learning, speech recognition, language understanding, inference, and personalization. So these are the major personal assistants in the market. Alex just talked about Siri. It came out in 2011. Google came up with Google Assistant a year later. Cortana launched in 2014, and we launched Alexa later in the year in November 2014. So here I will give you a real use case. This is actually a flight card on my phone. And what this flight card tells me is that I have a flight that I booked a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to Prague, connecting in Amsterdam. It tells me that this is on the day of travel, that my flight is delayed. And when you think about it, this intelligent personal assistant, it scans my email, it extracts the flight information, it stores it somewhere, it computes my current location at the day of travel, and it checks the traffic conditions to the airport. It tells me that whether I should leave for the airport or there's a delay. And these are 7, 8 steps that I need to go through to get this information. And these agents, the intelligent personal assistants, completes each of these 8 steps behind the scene. I don't need to go use 7, 8 applications to do it. That's friction. It is removing the friction. And so stitching these different steps, these atomic steps, and getting the task completed is a breakthrough in providing usefulness to the consumer, to the customers. And here, let me go back. Here, actually, what you see here is, my final destination is Prague. So the assistant knows that I'm going to arrive in Prague. It tells me about the weather location in Prague, weather conditions in Prague. It also tells me the exchange rate between US dollar and Czech currency. You need to go to 7, 8 apps to gather this information. So now I will give you sort of a historical perspective of what's happening in this space, looking at past 50, 60 years. This chart is, the information in this chart is from Mary Meeker, who's the ex-Wall Street analyst. She's an investor right now, but I replotted everything here for you. So going back to 1960s, this is actually the beginning of computer era. We had the mainframes in the basement of big corporations that you didn't know existed. And every 10 to 15 years, there's a new computing cycle that's taking place. And in 2000s, we have desktops in every office, in every home. And now we are living through the mobile internet age with the smartphones. And the next computing cycle is Internet of Things. And with each cycle, the install base is increasing by 10x. Now you have, when you think about it, a few computers, your smartphone, laptop, and PC. But then with the next phase, you will have 30, 40, 50 computers because you have devices at your home, fridge, stove, thermostat. You will be able to interact with all of them. Actually, any device with an IP address is becoming a computer. So, and with this, change is also the integration is increasing. The form factor is getting smaller, and costs are getting lower, and UI is improving. That's where speech comes into play. And okay, now I will bombard you with a set of charts. Bear with me. So this chart is showing you the global computing device shipments, during the past 5-6 years. It's telling you that the PC is slightly declining. That's bad news for Microsoft. Tablets are slightly increasing, but it is the smartphones that have been running the show so far. And if you see, it's sort of leveling off during the past year or two. So okay, that's what I just said. This is the global digital statistics. So we have 7.4 billion people in the world. About 3.8 billion have mobile phones, and it's expected that in the next couple of years, everyone will have a smartphone. What I mean by everyone is, when you think about it, anyone who's older than 10 years old is a target market for the smartphone. So that's about 5.5 billion people. So in about 3 years, everyone will have a smartphone. So the mobile internet computing cycle is winding down. Man, that's going so fast. 5 minutes, okay. All right, so, but big companies have to grow, and what is the next big opportunity to invest? Now that was the mobile devices. So what's happening on these mobile devices is the applications running on them. So this is showing the number of applications in different app stores. And if you see it, it's steadily increasing. There's no sign of slowing down. This is a little dated, but right now, as of today, well, this year, we have over 2.2 million apps in these different app stores. And these are the global app downloads. As you see, this is also steadily increasing. There's no sign of slowing down. This year, 268 billion app downloads are expected. What's interesting is this chart. This chart is telling you that developers are writing more applications, consumers are downloading these applications, but you are not using these applications. This is telling you that here on average, you use about 10 apps in a day and 30 apps in a month. So what is really happening? So 80% of these apps are called zombie apps, meaning that no one ever used them. So here is one app that you probably didn't know it existed. It's called Pee Time. So if you're in a movie theater and you wanna go pee and you don't wanna miss any action, this application tells you that between 13 and 15 minutes, there's no action. You can safely go pee. You're not missing any action. So the point is, there are many applications, out of 2 million plus. Not all of them are useful. There are hundreds of thousands of these applications that are very useful, that will help you, but you just can't discover them. So app discovery is friction number one. So the other thing is, assume that you find the application that you needed. Now you need to spend a day to figure out how these applications work, because if I give you Facebook that you never used before, and you're going to spend a couple hours to a day to figure out the functionality. So this is telling you that a few 100,000 applications, you cannot really go learn how these applications work. So that's friction number two. You don't have the cognitive bandwidth, you don't have the time. So now, oops, I gave you that. Did I? Yes, I would ask you, what's the most valuable asset you had during the day? And that is your time. I would ask you that question. I will come to what 1,000 minutes is. So this is showing you, how you spend your time, web browsing, TV watching, and mobile phones. What happened is around 2014, the time that you spend on your mobile devices browsing through different applications surpass the time that you're watching, the time you're spending on watching TV. Another thing to watch out here is if you compare the last 4 years, you see that there is 120 minutes that you're using your smartphones browsing through different applications. Let's take a note of that. And that's what I just said. Applications are after you and your time. That's what makes them valuable. And here, I will ask you a question. Here are the two charts, and can you tell me the difference between the two? You have 5 seconds. You don't have a lot of time. Okay, let me give you the answer. The answer is 6 years. And this is how you spend your day. You know, in the previous chart, I showed you that during the past 4 years, you are spending 120 minutes browsing through different applications on your smartphone. So where is that 120 minutes coming from? As if nothing has changed during the past for 6 years. So, and 1,000 minutes is your daily budget. This is actually a constraint. If you leave out the sleeping time, which is about 78 hours, the rest, that leaves you with 1,000 minutes. You need to fit everything into this 1,000 minutes. You work, you care for others, you eat, everything has to be in this, within 1,000 minutes. Now, going back to the question, you know, that's a limited time, actually. These frictions that I talked about earlier, if it's taking 1 minute of your time, it is important. You have only 1,000 minutes. So it is important to remove these frictions so that you have your time back. So when do we use our mobile phones? This is actually what we are doing. We are, you know, having fun, so to speak, with our colleagues and friends. And the applications got into anything, everything, whatever we do. Yeah, even that. Okay, so now you are well over your budget. And you need help. You need help managing your time. And the promise of, actually, this is a quote from Alan Turing. He says that, you know, you need a machine to beat another machine. So intelligent personal assistants could be that machine that will give you your time back. And on the other side, what's happening is a natural way to interact with personal assistant is the voice. And voices, because it's simply, you know, these small devices, as Alex showed you, I got that. Alex showed you an example that the information throughput to these devices are 4 times slower as opposed to if you actually speak to them. And speech is expected to replace the touch as the primary input in the next few years. And I'm actually quoting some numbers from different companies in the area. And you also realize that you find yourself, actually, whenever you see a text box and there's a mic there, you start speaking to it because it's faster than actually typing the text in it. So Amazon Alexa, that's entirely voice. Okay, now just bringing everything back together. I'm sorry. This, you know, summary of the facts. So everyone is going to have a smartphone in a couple of years, and you're spending 3+ hours on your smartphone. And IoT is happening without a clear interface how to interact with them. And the frictions are, you know, the app discovery, limited cognitive bandwidth to interact with these applications, and information flow into these devices. And constraint is your daily budget. At Amazon, in Alexa team, we are aiming to address these frictions through machine learning and AI. It's particularly, actually, it's friction 1, friction number 2, and friction number 3. And because by removing these frictions, we are going to make you more effective to achieve more. And I can move that. Okay. So these are sort of the different, you know, efforts that we have. And we have, as you know, 20,000 skills right now, the Alexa. These are the different, you know, language understanding domains the developers are building. And there's still friction when you interact with them. You need to say, you know, Alexa, ask 1-800-flower to order me flower. So we like to remove these frictions. Okay, yeah, yeah, 1 more minute. So, yeah, Amazon has a different culture. You know, I've been to other places that you have already a product that you're supporting and improving. And you are coming up with innovations, and usually you have this dilemma that you are maintaining something. Not at Amazon. Amazon, if you know, we have our processes working back from the customer's problem, friction points, and if you make your case, you will be given resources to go chase your idea. And This is actually something that we did along the lines of removing the friction, skill discovery, and suggestion. This is in production. So you can ask Alexa, Alexa, how can I remove oil stain? And Alexa will say the first, we will find these skills that's relevant to you, and we will ask you whether you want to enable the skill. Once you do it, next time you come back and you can interact with the skill. So this is the skill discovery. There are multiple phases of this. This is in the production. And this is actually, maybe I will finish with this slide. So what do you think the user's intent is when your user says to Alexa, what should I do for dinner? Okay, the user may want to book restaurant or order food or find recipes. It all depends. There's not a single true answer to this. Because if the user is eating out a lot, maybe you want to book a restaurant. If the user is cooking at home a lot, maybe you want to suggest a recipe. So there are many use cases like this where there is ambiguity in the user's intent, natural language, and let me give you more example. And you need context to solve these problems. That's what the effort that we have with Alexa Brain is trying to bring in context into the picture so that we understand the user's intent better, we understand the user's context better, so we give the most relevant answer to the user. So let me stop here because I have a few more slides, but I'm out of time.